You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. Welcome back to What the Gut. Today, we're diving into a topic that so many women struggle with, but do not always talk about, and that is sleep. If you have ever found yourself tossing and turning at night, staring at the ceiling, or relying on sleep meds just to get some rest, then this episode is for you. I'm thrilled to welcome Morgan Adams, a transformative holistic sleep coach who helps women break free from sleepless nights without relying on medication. Having battled insomnia and prescription sleep dependence for almost a decade, Morgan knows firsthand the power of restful, restorative sleep and how life-changing it can be whenever you finally get that. Morgan, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Allison. It's great to be here with you.
Yes, I'm really excited to have you here today. And I know, you're not just an expert in sleep, but you're also a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And your journey has really just fueled your passion for holistic wellness and disease prevention. I love that. And I can't wait to talk more.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited that you invited me to chat with you today.
Yeah. So I would love first to just ask you, can you share what really led you to become a holistic sleep coach and how your personal battle with insomnia really shaped that?
Sure. So I had insomnia close to 20 years ago, and it was kicked off by an issue with a romantic relationship back then. And what ended up happening is I had what they call onset insomnia, basically a fancy way of saying I had a hard time falling asleep. So I would lie in bed awake most nights, 1 to 2 hours, tossing and turning. After a couple months of that, I got really fed up, and I went to my primary care doctor and asked for help. I said, I can't sleep. What can you do to help me? And I was given Ambien, which is a prescription sleep aid. What I should share, though, during this time of my life, I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. My currency was pharmaceuticals. So being offered a pharmaceutical to help me with something was no big deal at all for me.
Right.
And so I took it. It helped me get to sleep faster as advertised. However, I had a lot of really gnarly side effects the next day. I was really groggy, had trouble focusing, brain fog. At this point in my life, I had transitioned to another career in PR. So I had to write really fast on a deadline. And I remember my boss standing over my shoulder a couple of times, just watching me type. And I was frozen because my brain wasn't working fast enough because I was hungover from the Ambien. In any event, at this point in my life, I met a new guy. He is now my husband. Happy ending to the story. And he said to me in the beginning stage of our relationship, Morgan, when you take that pill to sleep, you act like a zombie and it freaks me out. And I thought, oh my goodness, he's right. There is something really not good about me taking these sleeping pills for so long. And I did what I recommend people don't do, and that is just take yourself off a med without some kind of guidance from your prescribing provider. But I went rogue, and I'm very headstrong, and I gritted my teeth through it, and I got through it, started sleeping better, slept decently for a long time. And then there was a plot twist, and that plot twist was something that we all collectively experienced in March of 2020. When the pandemic hit and everyone was wondering what was going on, my sleep started to tank again, and I got very concerned because I did not want to return to that world of insomnia that I really did not want to be back.
Right.
And so I started researching online how to get better sleep. I bought an Aura ring to track my sleep. And yes, I see you have one
I
too.
love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's great. We could talk more about it later. But I was able to restore my sleep pretty quickly. And I was really very pleasantly surprised with how that turned around. So I started organically sharing on Facebook things that I was doing to get my sleep back on track. And I came to find out that a lot of other women in my social circle during this time were having trouble sleeping too. And just a sidebar, you mentioned the breast cancer. That was 2018. So 2 years before
Okay.
this kind of second wave of insomnia hit, I, the breast cancer diagnosis really just sparked my motivation to want to help women with their health. And I wanted to
Okay.
actually do that professionally, but I didn't know how it was going to turn out, like what I was going to actually do to help people with their health. It was just this vague notion. And then once I figured out like how fascinating sleep was, all the stars aligned. And I just said, I'm going to be a sleep coach for women, which was, amazing and everything. But like, how do you do that? So you
Right.
can't just hang up your shingle and say, this is what I do now. So I went through a lot of training for about a year, health coach training, sleep certifications, all that stuff. And then in 2021, I launched this sleep coaching practice, helping women get better sleep and overcome insomnia, just like I had. So that is the long winded story about how I got to where I am now.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I love though that you have your own story that led you to what you do now. And I know there are so many women out there who do feel like they've tried everything like melatonin, different sleep aids, maybe even Ambien. Like I know so many people have been on that before. Even having like strict nighttime routines, like I'm big on my nighttime routine, but maybe they haven't had success. So I'm curious, what are some of the things that helps you whenever you were off of Ambien, really trying to get a better night's sleep? And maybe even what are some of the mistakes that you see people make whenever they're trying to fix their sleep?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of mistakes that people are making when they try to fix their sleep. I think I would start off by saying people are not really paying attention to their circadian rhythm enough. And good sleep is actually an output of strong circadian rhythm. So
Yes.
whenever I'm starting to work with somebody, a client, or just talking to people in general, I'm always talking about starting with your circadian rhythm and getting that stronger. And so there are a few ways that we can go about that. And they're actually very simple steps and they're not costly at all. So I think what I would suggest is starting with a very consistent wake time, a very consistent sleep schedule in general, but more focusing on the wake time because
Yeah.
that really solidifies your circadian rhythm. Having that consistent wake time is actually really interesting because you start to build up this sleep chemical called adenosine in your brain about 14 to 16 hours after you wake up. And so that chemical has to be released through our 8-ish hours of sleep, right? So when you have that consistent wake up time, you're building in automatically this consistent expectation that you'll be sleepy around the same time each night. And so really getting that sleep cycle, that sleep wake cycle dialed in pretty quickly is a great first step, as well as looking at morning light, getting that morning light exposure.
Yes.
It is so critical and it's overlooked by most of the population. And what we really need to focus on is that time after sunrise up until what we call UVA rise, which is when the sun is 10 to 30 degrees over the horizon. And what's happening during that time of the morning is just incredible as far as I call it like nature's pharmaceuticals. Like it's a bunch of pharmaceuticals naturally piled into one thing. And essentially we could delve into that more later, but essentially what's happening is when you are getting that morning light exposure around sunrise, it's signaling to your body, hey, we are now orienting you to where you are in the universe, what time it is, and the clock starts ticking, right? So you're going to be primed to have a predictable, reliable cortisol melatonin pulse for that day and evening. And it really just sets the tone for the day. So I highly recommend that. Now, there's a caveat with this that a lot of people miss, and you need to have naked eyes. I walk my dogs every morning around sunrise, and I notice that so many people walking their dogs, whether it's cloudy or sunny, have on sunglasses. So you don't want to wear the sunglasses because that actually blocks the light from doing all those miraculous things and adjusting
Yeah.
the neurotransmitters and hormones. Now, people get very triggered when I talk about sunglasses. I'm taking away their coffee or something, but I have light eyes. I used to wear sunglasses everywhere, cloudy, sunny, all the time. And you actually can really train yourself to wean off the sunglasses. Now, we have to be safe. I'm not going to say don't ever wear sunglasses, but reserve them for when you're driving and there's a glare, maintain your
Yeah.
safety. Or if you're at the beach or, skiing or something and it's just extremely bright, shielding your eyes from that. But on a normal day morning, there's really no need to wear sunglasses as you're walking around. So those are really, and then I'll add on one third thing is regular meal timing. Again, that's another
Yeah.
thing that really, it's a meal timing and light, and they're called Zeitgebers. It, basically, that means timekeepers in German. And if you are setting your meal timing for regular intervals, that is another really powerful way to keep your circadian rhythm consistently running.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love those I feel like that's all stuff that I tell my clients too. So it's nice because it's okay, yeah, I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
But I'll say the sunglasses thing, it's so interesting. So for me, I have found I don't wear sunglasses a lot because wearing glasses, if I don't have my glasses on, I cannot see anything. And I know you can get prescription sunglasses, but it's just not the same, right? Whenever I found out about what you're saying with the light, that it's just you actually get the light better and absorb it more whenever you're not wearing the sunglasses, I was like, okay, I don't feel so bad about
Mm.
not protecting my eyes during this
Yes.
time. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So I'm curious though for you, I know you mentioned these things and I'm sure you did these things, but I know there are so many people who do take Ambien and it can be really addicting. And even just getting off of that, what were some of the things that you did maybe that did you use melatonin? Did you really just implement all these habits that you said? Was there anything else that was just really life changing for you?
Yeah, I got off the Ambien maybe 15 years ago. So it's been a while. And
Yeah.
the details are actually a little bit murky to me. Maybe I had some
Yeah.
kind of residual issue with my cognition. But what I do remember from that time is I would cut the pills in half and
Okay.
just slowly, and I had some fits and starts with that. I would panic and freak out and start again. And so it took several times of me doing that to finally wean. Now, I didn't know any of what I know now. I
Yeah.
was
Okay.
literally, all the things that I'm talking about now in terms of helping your sleep, I was ignorant to that. So I just got really lucky, honestly, because I didn't supplement. I think I toyed around with different sleep supplements over that time, but I don't recall like leaning into one in particular or doing any. But what I really do recommend for people to do if they are on a medication is talk to your prescribing provider who will give you a taper schedule and set that up for you. Now, that's half the equation. I really do feel strongly that someone coming off a sedative hypnotic like Ambien or benzos or something a little bit more potent should really have a guide like a sleep coach working with them because there's a lot of mind stuff going on as far as what a sleep coach does is helps build up your sleep confidence by teaching you these techniques and these habits. So it's really helpful to have that support because as hard as a doctor can try to give you that direction, unfortunately, the way the medical system is set up these days is your doctor is not going to be checking in with you every day
Right.
and holding your hand, right? Whereas a sleep coach is there for you, walking you through that journey, helping you be accountable and giving you those skills to make you a more confident sleeper so that you don't feel like you have to have those sleeping pills. Now, I will say sometimes everyone's journey is different going off the sleeping pills, but one thing that I do find happening with my clients is that we will often substitute a sleep supplement as they're going off the prescription medication. because it's almost like a placebo, honestly, because the sleep supplements are really the data is not really that strong in terms of helping people with insomnia. It's just not there. So I think there's this sort of placebo effect that they're actually physically taking something in their mouth as they would like a sleeping pill, but
Right.
it may not really be working. But doesn't really honestly doesn't matter because there's nothing really wrong with a placebo. You just waste a little money if
Yeah.
that's the like the worst thing that could happen. So that is something that some people want. They're clinging on to that taking the pill, so they substitute the prescription pill for a supplement.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. I'm curious, like sleep and gut health are so deeply connected. And I'm curious what your take is on like poor sleep and how that affects digestion, hormones, and just overall well being. I know you mentioned like you had a ton of brain fog.
Yeah, yeah. So when we don't sleep very well, it is actually messing up our gut microbiome and it's creating inflammation. And that actually can really disturb our sleep. That can trigger middle of the night awakenings. Also, I should say that a lot of people's eating patterns are not conducive to sleep. And a very common thing for a lot of people to do is eat after the sun goes down. And
Right.
what we really want to focus on when we're trying to really optimize our sleep is only eating between sunrise and sunset. Now, that's a moving target throughout the year. I know in
Right.
in the winter when the sun is down completely in some places at 5 o'clock, it can be challenging to actually finish your meal by 5 because work schedules and kids and all that stuff. But like doing our best to eat according to those light parameters,
Yeah.
that can be really helpful. I've noticed that a lot of people have a habit of late night snacking, and that is one of the worst things you can do for your sleep because your body is just not wired to digest food late at night. Basically, when you eat at night, your pancreas shuts down, and your pancreas, that when that shuts down, the melatonin production shuts down. So you have to really think about what were our ancestors doing. Like a lot of it
Right.
points back to what they were doing. So our ancestors millennia ago, they were basically eating from the time the sun rose because they could go out and hunt. And then once the sun set, there was no refrigerator. They had their dinner by the campfire.
There was
So
no late night
there
snacks.
was no late night snack, none of that.
Yeah.
There was no Domino's. There was
Yeah.
nothing like of that sort. And so when we eat outside of that natural tendency, then we really get into trouble. Dinner. I'd love to just talk about finishing dinner. I touched on that a second ago, but if we can really aim to finish our last meal 2 to 3 hours before we go to bed, that is ideal. And I realize it's not going to be perfect every night because there might be nights where we have things going on socially and people make dinner reservations later than we would like. And
Right.
we roll with it. But on balance, really trying to build in that window of time, few hours between our last bite and the time we go to bed.
Yeah. I know I can tell for myself, like I instilled those habits pretty early on. I guess whenever my kids were young, I was like, we're gonna eat dinner at 5:30. This is the time we're gonna do it. And so I just instilled those habits in myself. But I grew up late night snacking or binge eating or like staying out late, eating snacks, ordering pizza, whatever, even early 20s, like going out, getting drinks, and then stopping by a fast food place. That's what you did. But I realized too, like your gut bacteria are set to the circadian rhythm as well. And once you adapt to that, like it's crazy how it impacts not just like better sleep, but so many other things. But yeah, like my sleep, I've never had trouble sleeping after that, and
Yeah,
eh
it can make a world of difference. I even heard recently that you're more likely to get food poisoning when you eat late at night, like the same thing that you might eat during the day.
probably
If you
just
if you ate it after midnight or whatever, that if it was a bad food, you might be
yeah,
more likely to get food poisoning from that food because your gut's capacity to do all of its natural processes is compromised because you're supposed to be
yeah.
sleeping and not eating. Yeah.
I'm like, Of course," but that's crazy, that's
Yeah.
wild, though. Now, so many of my listeners are juggling, like, stress as far as maybe working full time, kids, just endless possibilities, right? So, what would you say are like your top 3 non-negotiable sleep tips for busy women?
Yeah, we covered a few, but I'll just reiterate, it's really the consistent wake time, getting out in the morning. Now, I realize that with moms and kids and school and just juggling all these things, you may not have the luxury to spend a lot of time outside in the morning. Totally get that. You really only need a few minutes. So if you can
Right.
just make that a priority before your day starts, figure out when in your schedule you can pop out for 5 minutes and take your kids with you. They need to optimize their circadian rhythm just as much as we do, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, getting regular exercise has been really a very validated form of getting better sleep. We have 13 studies and a meta analysis showing that moderate exercise helps deep sleep. Getting 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days, I really recommend for people because regular exercise helps boost that adenosine. It helps boost that sleep drive. It helps regulate our circadian rhythm. It also helps reduce cortisol. And again, busy people, it's hard to find that time, but schedule your workout like you would a meeting, like a business appointment.
Right.
And whether that's in the morning or lunchtime or evening, just do your best to make it happen. And it doesn't have to be anything intense. Like, people are like, "Do I need to do a hit workout?" No, you do not need to do
No,
any of that stuff.
please
Just
don't.
moving your body, getting moderate exercise, whatever that looks like for you, and making that a commitment to yourself. And then I think lastly, I would say for moms especially, there's something called revenge bedtime procrastination. Have you heard of this term before?
I haven't heard of the term.
This is interesting. Okay. So it's also called momsomnia. Okay. And
Okay.
basically what this is, it's a term that's kind of came into more popularity around the time of the pandemic, but the term was coined years before that. Essentially, what this is when people realize that they are supposed to be going to bed at a certain time, whatever that time is, but they deliberately procrastinate going to bed because they haven't been able to do the things that they wanted to do during the daytime. And this typically happens a lot with moms and busy people, and so the typical scenario that plays out with some clients and people that I know is the mom puts the kids to bed. It's 10 o'clock. I finally have a moment of peace. I'm going to sit on the couch and do Netflix and drink some wine and have some popcorn. Or on the other spectrum, I'm going to start doing some work. Maybe they're an entrepreneur and they're like, this is their only time to get their work done. They start hacking on the computer and doing all that stuff. And basically what happens over time is they are at a low grade version of sleep deprivation all the time. And so they're not functioning their best the next day. And
Yeah.
this is a real problem. And so one of the ways to mitigate this is schedule time in your day to do the things that bring you joy. And because that's why people are doing this revenge bedtime procrastination, is because they're not getting to do the things that they want to do during the day. So it's if you enjoy, I don't know, just watching cat videos on YouTube, if that's what brings you joy and you find yourself doing that at night, then schedule 5 or 10 minutes during the day to do that so that you're
Right.
not tempted to do it as much at night, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. I can see a lot of this, like, in my husband, like,
Yes.
waiting until the
Yes.
end of the day to unwind and do his thing and then staying up all night.
Yeah, yeah. And another
Yeah.
thing that we can do to help mitigate this revenge bedtime procrastination is setting an alarm on our phone, letting us know it's kind of time to shut things down. And
Yes.
again, like if you have a partner or a roommate, you have someone at home, you may want to call in that person to give you the nudge too, because
Yeah.
sometimes you need that sort of built-in accountability person to help you break that habit. But it's a big issue with a lot of people that I see.
Yes, I definitely can see that, and I thought maybe that's, like, kind of what you meant, but I'd never heard it by that term. I really haven't, but
Yeah.
I will say for me, I have not struggled with that, but I think for me, it was really helpful because with my son, he's 4, and, like, he wants me in the bed whenever he goes to sleep, and since he was a baby, we, like, bed shared and everything too and co-slept, and so for me, it was like, "Okay, like, I'm going to bed when he goes to bed." And so for me, I'm in the bed after dinner, but for me, my late night time by myself is not late, but it's like a cup of tea.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I have found myself, it's like during the day, like you said, the things that bring you joy. Like if I want to stay and read a book for a little bit, okay, I'm going to have to find time during the day to do that instead of staying up late at night. I've gotten to where my body is on that rhythm, but it's setting like those boundaries every day. Like you said, like the early morning sunlight, like these are non negotiables for me too. So I love that you pointed some of those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also important. Morgan, is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with today?
Yeah. I would just say that we all have the capacity to improve our sleep in some way. And I would say that it's important to consider the basics of, so a lot of the tips that I've shared today, do those before you graduate to the biohacks and the supplements. Start basic, start small, start with free things. And then once you've mastered those, and if you're still like not satisfied with your sleep, then maybe mess around with some of the biohacks and the Aura rings and the fancier things. But really, we all have a lot of tools at our disposal that we're just not tapping into. So tap into
Right.
those first before you get fancy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree. This has been so awesome today, Morgan. Thank you for being here. I'll be sure to link your Instagram in the show notes for anybody who wants to follow you and reach out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to allisonandwellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, if you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at allisonandwellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative. Hey there, it's Allison, and if you're anything like me, coffee is a non-negotiable part of your day. But did you know that most coffee is loaded with mold, toxins, and pesticides that could be messing up your gut and hormones? Yeah, no thanks. That's why I only drink Purity coffee. It's organic, tested for toxins, and it's packed with antioxidants that actually support your health instead of wrecking it. It's smooth, delicious, and best of all, it does not leave me feeling jittery or bloated. So if you're ready to upgrade your coffee game and support your gut at the same time, grab a bag of Purity coffee today. Your body will thank you. Oh, and because you are part of the What the Gut family, I've got a special link just for you. Just head to puritycoffee.com and use code AllisonGetsWell for 20% off your first order. Cheers to coffee that loves you back. Hey friend, let's talk about something real. Bloating, stomach pain, and fatigue. You do not have to live like this. I know because I was there too. I was frustrated, exhausted, and trying everything, but still felt miserable. And that's exactly why I created my Get Well one-on-one gut health coaching program to help women like you finally get to the root cause of your symptoms, heal your gut, and feel like yourself again. No more guessing, no more Band-Aid fixes, just real, sustainable solutions tailored to your body. So if you're ready to ditch the bloating, boost your energy, and actually enjoy food without discomfort, let's do this together. Head to AllisonGetsWell.com or reach out to me on Instagram at AllisonGetsWell to learn more and apply today. Because you deserve to feel good in your body every single day.